announcement.
I know that guy.
Well, we all know that you're here, don't we? Should we be clapping? Seems like a good place to sleep.
Detail! Up! Detail! Wheel right! Detail up!
Tell me through myself.
Oh yeah. The kids were November 11th. Yeah, we'll go on the DSW ball and give us coffee. That's a good idea.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you who have been here before, you've heard this from me about the significance of dropping the wreath from this bridge. The wreath is dropped at the bridge into the water to commemorate and remember those who were lost at sea in the service of this country. Today we have the Girl Scouts.
We are gathered here to honor our fallen dead, all who paid with their lives from one of the many devilish ways that man has contrived to maim or kill his fellow man. By bomb, bullet, shell, mine, fire, water, starvation, torture, or disease. Some of them rest in the ground, others at the ocean floor. Others still are but the scattered ashes of plummeting human torches. We beseech you to care for all those who have closed their eyes in these ways on the shadows and foggy twilight that makes up this world, and in your mercy to enable them to open them on the full glory and warmth of you. For your name's sake, amen.
Set. Arms.
Set. Arms.
Order. On. Detail. Left. Face. Forward. March. Column. Left. Detail. Hold.
This morning. Another great turnout, and so far the rain's held out on us, so we're trying to move this along as quickly as possible to not tempt our fate. But again, thank you for coming out on Memorial Day. Every year I'm surprised and pleased to see the support that we get from the town of Goffstown, and how great it is to feel that memory of how important and significant the sacrifice of our fallen soldiers is to everyone in the United States. And it's particularly clear here in Goffstown every year on Memorial Day. For parents, I spoke on Friday at Maple Avenue and talked to parents and the children there about sacrifice of service. I didn't talk too much about the sadder side of Memorial Day, but just mainly setting a good example for our young people and passing along the appreciation for the sacrifice of others is something that I believe is a very deeply held core value in Americans. We appreciate what people do for us, and it makes it easier for us to do for others when we have that deep appreciation. And nowhere is it more apparent than on Memorial Day and on the 4th of July when we remember the history of this country and what we are and what we have become. So thank you again for coming out. I'll now introduce David Pierce to speak to you on behalf of the Selectmen and the town of Goffstown. Thank you.
On behalf of the Board of Selectmen and the residents of Goffstown, I welcome all of this participation. The high school bands, the scouts, showing your support for this day. In a few weeks, 5 weeks, we'll celebrate the independence of this country, but this is a special day where we celebrate those who have maintained that independence and that freedom by serving, and unfortunately, but those who have given their lives. This is a tradition I'm so proud that Goffstown's been able to maintain. I can think back of when I was wearing a scout uniform, 10 years old, and participating in my hometown's parade. Many memories come back for those days. And then later on, when I was a senior officer, or the senior officer from my hometown, still on active duty, returning to the town to dedicate the Vietnam War Memorial with names of those who had fallen during that conflict. Once again, loss of memories. So I sort of pass that tradition along to you. There's lots of youngsters here today. Some of you are going to serve your country, and I welcome those you supporting us, wearing a uniform, continuing to maintain our freedom and our independence. So, once again, thank you for your support here today.
I'd like to introduce to you Senator Lou D'Alessandro.
Just a couple of weeks ago in Manchester, we lost a man who gave great service to this country, Colonel Bob Murphy. Colonel Bob Murphy made 3 landings during World War II, North Africa, Anzio, and Normandy. Survived all 3. As an 18-year-old, entered the service, and of course the history is what it is. One of the significant aspects of Memorial Day is remembering. We've got to remember those people who did so much for us so that we could be here today on Memorial Day, so that we could be with our families, with our friends, and enjoying all the benefits of a free society. Many have served us in the past, many will serve us in the future. But the one thing we must remember is never to forget. Our memories are pretty short in this life, so we've got to fight to remember those who did so much for us. It's a great day for America when all of us can get together and feel good about what we're doing for ourselves, for our families, and for our country. So thank each and every one of you for coming. Don't forget the Bob Murphys of the world who did so much for us, who in the long run made all of this possible. Thank you, and have a great, great Memorial Day.
Thank you again for coming out. We're now going to proceed to the monument, where we are going to have a little bit of a change of program. Last year we lost a Marine, a resident of Goffstown, Corporal Phil Chardy, and we will do a short prayer there and a memorial to him at the monument that recognizes the sacrifice of those who died in land warfare. So we'll now proceed down to once again, thank you for coming. This is the monument where we lay a wreath to commemorate those who died during land warfare or in the air. The Girl Scouts put together a display here that signifies missing man, or POW, missing in action. Each item on the table has particular significance to remembering those who are missing and have not come home from warfare. The girls here will explain to you what they mean.
that all of our comrades will soon be back within our ranks. Let us remember and never forget their sacrifice. May God forever watch over them and protect them and their families.
At every official meeting of the American Legion, we try to have one of those tables set up so every member recognizes the sacrifice of those who have never returned home. And in place of that table, we place a POW MIA flag at the head of each of our meetings. As I mentioned at the town hall, today is a very somber remembrance of Memorial Day for us here in Goffstown. We lost a young man, Phil Chardy, former state champion wrestler, graduate of Goffstown High School, friend to many people in this community. We lost him in Helmand Province last year on 7 September. Single gunshot wound during an operation to clear an area of insurgents. He was a very proud Marine. He was very proud of his service. I saw him 2 days before he returned to combat in his second combat tour, and I miss him very much. So today, as we place this wreath, please remember Phil Chardy in your hearts.
Order, arms. We'll now have the roll call of the fallen by Major Fred Wrights, United States Army Special Forces, with Joe Cutt, United States Navy, on the bell tolling.
Look down with favor and understanding upon the hearts of
Present
those who are gathered here to pay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to tell you what an honor and privilege it is to be able to read these names, so that not only are these people never forgotten, but so that the sound of their name
We ask a
will not
special
be
prayer.
stilled. Philip G. Charte, Corporal, United States Marine
Who was
Corps,
taken from us
Goffstown.
some 9 months ago. His life and the life of all those
Salute
who
the
made
fallen.
this supreme sacrifice are glorious before us. Their deeds constitute a daily inspiration for those like ourselves who remain in their home communities. In God we trust, and may the faith of our fathers guide, protect, and sustain our people. Amen. Almighty God, Father of all mankind and Judge over nations, we ask you to bless this memorial service and to look down with favor and understanding upon the hearts of those who are gathered here to pay tribute to those who have made the supreme sacrifice and for the benefit of all free men everywhere. We ask a special prayer in the memory of Goffstown's own Corporal Phil Chardy, who was taken from us some 9 months ago. His life and the life of all those who paid the supreme sacrifice are glorious before us. Their deeds constitute a daily inspiration for those like ourselves who remain in their home communities. In God we trust, and may the faith of our fathers guide, protect, and sustain our people. Amen.
Cover.